This is 5 on your side at 10, Decision 2024 coverage of election night. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Kelly Jackson. We are also streaming right now on 5 Plus. Despite today's heavy rains and flooding, voters came out in droves, and that was on top of record early voting. The polls in Missouri and Illinois closed 3 hours ago, and the results are still coming into our newsroom. They are running right now on the bottom of your screen and available also on KSDK.com.
And we have live crews stationed here in St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield, Jefferson City, covering tonight's biggest races and issues here in the bi-state. We begin with our political editor, Mark Maxwell, who is tracking the latest on the big race of the night, the race for the White House. Mark?
And Mike and Kelly, right now, Donald Trump in the top position here. He's leading 210 electoral votes to Kamala Harris 113. Well, you see these dark color shades on the map. Those are states where Donald Trump has won or Kamala Harris has won. The lighter shades, that's where the candidate is currently leading. Notice these battleground states. Kamala Harris needs to win Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin to secure a win. If she doesn't do that, the path to her victory gets a lot more narrow. Let's show you some of the vote totals. We're going to go check in on those key states and look at this. Arizona, about 50% of, and it's very close, 50% of the vote in. Georgia, they're almost done counting in Georgia, at least in terms of total, 142,000 votes. That's a much bigger margin than we saw just 4 years ago. Michigan, as the vote continues to come in there, not close right now, but there's a long way to go. North Carolina, this was kind of considered a backup insurance policy for Kamala Harris. Not very close right now. Pennsylvania, a lot of votes left to be counted there. And again, Donald Trump leading in Wisconsin. We want to bring our political analyst, Anita Mannion, in here. Donald Trump supporters in 2016 felt that the shy Trump voters, pollsters missed them. In 2020, pollsters missed them and overestimated Joe Biden's support. He still won there. Trump voters are looking at this and saying, they missed us again.
That's true. I would also put in 2022, the pollsters kind of overestimated how Republicans would perform. That blue wave or the red wave didn't happen. But usually when we see a polling error, it's fairly consistent. And so I think it seems like that's what we're seeing tonight. Almost all of these races were listed as toss-ups, but they seem to be going Trump's way. So that polling error might be an across-the-board phenomenon that we're looking on.
A lot of people looking at this result wanting to know if they can predict or project something. Not yet. Remember, 4 years ago, Anita, if you're the Kamala Harris campaign, you look at this map, it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
But she still has a mathematical path to victory.
Absolutely. There's a reason they call this the blue wall. If she wins those three, plus the one in Nebraska, then she can still win this. But her options are narrowing. You know, that's not what she wants to see in Georgia and North Carolina. Nevada and Arizona could still play a role as well.
All right, we're going to toss it back over to Mike and Kelly at the desk. A lot of our reporters fanned out across Missouri right now with a lot of state races. We'll have more continuing coverage of this race as we go on tonight.
All right, Mark, we'll get back to you. Missouri voters are selecting a new governor tonight. Mike Parson is term limited. Republican Mike Kehoe, the current lieutenant governor, is projected to be the winner. And he'll become the first governor from St. Louis City in more than a century, beating Crystal Quade 56 to 42%.
So tonight we have Holden Kowicki with the Quade campaign in Springfield. Let's start first, though, with Laura Barcheski in Jefferson City, where Kehoe supporters have gathered. Laura?
Mike and Kelly, everyone in this room is thrilled to say that Mike Kehoe will be the 58th governor of Missouri. That race was called just before 9 o'clock tonight, and he pretty much immediately got on stage pledging to Missourians that he's going to get to work.
We're going to roll up our sleeves to get to work on day one. As soon as my hand comes off the Bible, the Kehoe administration will be relentless in our effort to make Missouri safer. We will ensure that Missouri is a state where it's easier to be a cop than a criminal. And we will not rest until the criminals who make our streets and neighborhoods dangerous are held accountable.
The North St. Louis native also ran his campaign on cutting taxes and taking on anti-abortion issues. He started out as a businessman, then turned politician. He raised $13.1 million during his campaign. Kehoe had big endorsements from former President Donald Trump and sitting Governor Mike Parson. I spoke with Governor Parson earlier this evening, who says he wants Governor-elect Kehoe to pick up where he left off on things like daycare, which he says is fundamental for Missourians, and he's confident he's passing the torch to the right person.
And he's been an ally the whole time, and I really need him over 6.5 years. And it's pretty good to know he's going to be taking my place as the 58th governor of the state. So it's a fun night for me. I'm relaxed. First Lady's relaxed, and it's great for him to see this night. And this is his night.
Now, Kehoe did not take questions from the press tonight, but instead did spend more time with his supporters and his family. Now I'll send it over to Holden Kerwicki in Springfield, Missouri with Crystal Quade campaign. Holden, how are you doing?
Well, Laura, Crystal Quade came into the night an admitted underdog after being outspent on the campaign trail nearly 6-1. And though she fell short in her bid to become Missouri's first female governor, she is vowing to keep fighting for the people of Missouri. Roughly 45 minutes after the Associated Press called the race for Republican Mike Kehoe, Quade spoke to a supportive crowd that was largely in and out throughout the night as they kept their eyes on the results of one of her main campaign focuses, which was getting Amendment 3 passed. Despite the loss for Quade at the polls, she told her supporters she felt Democrats across the state sent a message to Republicans in Jefferson City.
We are going to show the extremists in Jefferson City that they have gone too far. We didn't win this race, but they know that we are coming for them. It does not stop today. The work continues on tomorrow morning, and the day after that, and the day after that, until Missouri is a place that every single person can thrive in.
Despite the loss in the gubernatorial race, a number of Quade supporters have hung around here at the Teamsters Hall watching the results from a number of local and national election races come in. We'll continue to bring you their reaction to what's happening tonight on Election Day tomorrow morning on Today in St. Louis. Reporting live in Springfield, Missouri, Holden Kerwicki, 5 on your side.
And in the race for the Senate, a hotly contested race between Senator Josh Hawley, who is seeking another 6-year term to keep both of Missouri's seats in Republican hands. He is the projected winner with 53% of the votes. Marine veteran Lucas Kuntz had 45% of the vote.
We have Robert Townsend with the Kuntz campaign in Kansas City, but let's begin with Brent Solomon, who's at Hawley's campaign party in Ozark, Missouri. Brent.
We voted to save the USA. Those words from Senator Josh Hawley just moments ago as he addressed a very supportive crowd here in Ozark, Missouri. Take a look at your screen right now. The campaign, the crowd, I should say, was very energetic, very excited, holding signs that said, Hawley for Senate. They are pleased with tonight's results. And tonight the senator told them that he feels gratitude as he brought his wife and 2 young sons on stage. He says that the work in Washington is not done. Hear from him in his own words right now.
Missouri has said tonight is loud and clear. Missouri has said that we believe in this country, that God is not done with America yet. And we are here to fight for America's future. Are you with me? That's what tonight is about.
He ended his speech by saying, we are just getting started. And this crowd here at the Finley Farms Ozark Farmers Market, they said, you know what? 6 more years. That's what they kept chanting repeatedly. 6 more years. That shows they're ready for the decision Missouri has made tonight. Now, to cover the other side, my colleague Robert Townsend in Kansas City with the Lucas Kuntz camp. Robert.
Hey there, Brent. You know, right now, obviously, there is a lot of disappointment here. As I step over here, you can see Lucas Kuntz is now talking to reporters. He walked into this IBEW room about 20 minutes ago, gave his concession speech, and right now he's talking to reporters. He and his wife, Marilyn, they came in here with their children by their side. He pretty much said that he wanted to thank all of the voters who voted for him, namely a lot of union workers, because, again, you got to remember he touted himself as the pro-labor candidate, and all of those union folks were supporting him wholeheartedly. But again, Coons pretty much just minutes ago thanking everybody, saying that, hey, look, we still have a lot of work to do. He said, hey, I'm bowing out gracefully. He really wanted to win tonight, but again, this is his third bid for the Senate race and third loss. Here's more of what he had to say.
We can't stop fighting. Like, these guys will never give an inch of their power up. You can't ask nicely, you gotta take it back, you gotta organize. You know, the reason we're in a union hall tonight is because the labor coalition we built is built around everyday people trying to take power back for themselves. That's what this campaign is about, that's what organized labor is about, and that's what America should be about.
Coons go around this room shaking. And back here live, we're seeing Lucas Coons walk around this room still shaking lots of hands and smiling and taking a few cell phone pictures with lots of his supporters. Again, we are staying here until he leaves, but that is the very latest here from Kansas City. Back to you guys.
All right, Robert, thanks. Missouri voters also deciding whether to restore reproductive rights in the Show Me state. Banned abortions after the Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade. Amendment 3 will change the state constitution and legalize abortion access in Missouri until the point of fetal viability. And you can see Amendment 3 passing. They just need a simple majority. Only 39% of the precincts reporting, but it's 55 to 45%.
And 5 on your side, Justina Cornell has been following this highly charged ballot issue. She joins us live in St. Louis with the latest on this, Justina.
Well, yeah, just looking at the latest numbers, this has been a very tight race. And you'll just miss some cheers from the crowd. They actually put some of the numbers up and they started cheering those who are in favor of Amendment 3 and just kind of looking around the room. Many are mingling, but sitting at the table, just eyes glued to the screen, really to see what happens with Amendment 3. Now let's dive in to see what would happen if Amendment 3 passes. It would repeal Missouri's near total abortion ban. Now this initiative petition faced many legal battles before even getting on the ballot. And since then, both sides of the issue have been pushing for voters to choose either yes or no for Amendment 3. Now, here at the Watch Party for Missourians for Constitutional Freedom, the group behind Amendment 3, we've seen multiple St. Louis aldermen, St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore, and St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones, who had this message on why she showed up here.
Well, it's important to be here tonight to support supporters for Amendment 3 because it's my body and it's my choice. And I have never wanted to live in a world where a doctor would intervene in my health care decisions.
Again, just looking at the numbers, it is a very, very tight race. And as soon as we learn more, we'll make sure to update you. But for now, we wait. Reporting live, Justina Cornell, 5 on your side.
More Decision 2024 coverage coming your way, including the ballot initiative the Cardinals, Blues, and City SC are all rooting for tonight.
And all of the latest results are scrolling at the bottom of your screen. They're also available on KSDK.com and the 5 on your side app. All you have to do is text the word results to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link. Five on your side's coverage of election night continues now. Sports betting and a raise at minimum wage were on the ballot in the Show Me state.
Ann Allred is here with a decision from Missouri voters. Ann?
Let's talk about Amendment 2 first. It's gotten quite a bit of buzz this election cycle, whether or not to allow sports betting. 38 other states already allow it, including Illinois. We do not have a final result for you right now. Let's take a look, if we can, at what we do have and how many precincts are reporting. So we've got 48% of precincts reporting, 53% are saying yes, 47% saying no, and this has been really tight all night long. Now, this proposed law would allow people 21 and over, physically in the state, to bet online, plus place bets on gambling boats and in professional sports betting districts. So an example of that would be like a 400-yard perimeter around Busch Stadium. All the professional sports teams in the state of Missouri endorsed this. They want it to pass. Proponents say sports books will have to pay a 10% tax on revenue, and that will go to schools. That is true, but first that tax will be used to pay the expenses of the Missouri Gaming Commission for regulating the sports betting and the expenses that they had to make, plus a $5 million payment to the Compulsive Gaming Fund. People against this amendment say gambling isn't going to bring in the tax dollars it claims because sports books can claim deductions for the cost of free play and promotional credits. Let's talk about minimum wage. That is Missouri's Proposition A, giving many of a raise in the minimum wage, but then also workers paid sick time. Missourians approved an increase on the ballot in 2018 and 2006. Again, no final decision yet tonight, still up in the air. 56% of the precincts reporting so far yes is winning with 60%. If that continues and we pass another increase in minimum wage, it will go up January 1st, 2025 to $13.75 an hour. Right now it's $12.30. Then in January 2026, it will increase to $15 an hour. Each year after that, the wage will be adjusted based on inflation. The proposed law would also require employers with 15 or more workers to provide paid sick time. They would accrue 1 hour of sick time for every 30 hours worked. So let's send it over now to our political editor, Mark Maxwell.
Yeah, we're breaking down this whole map, and you're going to see some of those different amendments. We've got Anita Mannion standing with us just hereby. But let's take a look at Prop A, that economic issue about raising the minimum wage and guaranteeing a week of paid sick leave. You see right now, as Ann told us, about 60% support and geographical diversity, that number changing as data comes in, votes are being counted. Let's take a look at the heat map to see where the strongest support comes in. It's pretty mixed across the state. You see that there's pretty broad support, some opposition, so we'll take that heat off, and you see the big cities like St. Louis City, 85% supporting that minimum wage increase, almost 70% in the county. Okay, let's zoom out now and look at that sports betting. A bit tighter in some of these other rural areas haven't yet reported that part of their ballot. They're still counting. Okay, Anita, we're going to ask you about this big one, Amendment 3. Will Missouri overturn the abortion ban? Right now, about 3/4 of the votes are counted, and it's on track with some of the public polling that we saw coming into tonight.
It is. The polling had it around 54%, and that's what we're seeing right now. Of course, there's still plenty of counties left to report, and they're more rural counties, so you might think they would go no, but this is an issue we're seeing Republicans, independents, and Democrats. Maybe you vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, but you still vote for Amendment 3. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
We can take a look at that. You see in Missouri right now, 1.2 million votes counted in favor of Donald Trump. Take a look. And just 966,000 for Kamala Harris. We go to the abortion question, 1.1 million in favor of overturning the state's abortion ban and just about 1 million voting against it. So you see there's that difference. There's that the crossover voter that Anita was talking about. If we dig into this sports betting question one more time, this is, again, one of the closer races. Our panel that was on with us earlier, if you were streaming with us, one of the closest races we're seeing is about this sports betting question. A lot of room to go here. It looks like it might pass.
Yeah, it may very well pass, but I think this is one that a lot of people had questions about. How will sports betting affect Missouri? Is it going to help our schools, or is it going to create problems for folks who might go into debt or have gambling problems? So I think this is one I got a lot of questions about over the last week or two.
And if we go back, if we had time, we can check in with the presidential map. Tell me yes or no if we have time to take a look at that. We can see here, we just in the last few moments were able to project that Kamala Harris wins California, that's expected, wins Oregon, wins Washington. That helps her total, but again, Donald Trump just 56 votes away from that 270 votes where he would need to clinch the win. All eyes on this Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and it may take some time before those votes are still counted. One last look at those key states where they stand right now. North Carolina, 134,000 points off. Pennsylvania, 170,000 votes. And in Wisconsin, 63. Let's see if we can find where it stands in Michigan. With 31% of the votes counted, Donald Trump up 102,000 votes at this point.
All right, thanks, Mark. We'll check in with you guys a bit later. Coming up, a look at how the bi-state will be represented in Congress.
Welcome back to 5 on Your Side election night coverage. We do have some breaking news, a projection from NBC. They are projecting that Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina. We're also watching several races in Missouri and Illinois, and that will help shape the balance of power in Washington.
Republicans have a slim majority in the U.S. House and hope to maintain or build that advantage. Missouri's 1st congressional district has been a Democratic stronghold for 75 years. The district covers all of St. Louis City and a majority of Central and North County. St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell, who knocked out incumbent Cori Bush in the Democratic primary, is the projected winner with 76% of the vote, beating out Republican Andrew Jones. Bell made history when he became the county's first black prosecuting attorney. And we caught up with him tonight where he celebrated the victory and his 50th birthday.
It's an absolute blessing to be able to celebrate a milestone and become the congressman-elect. I've gotten calls and texts from other congressional members around the country congratulating me, and I'm just so, like I said, honored, but also just fired up for the opportunity to represent and help move this district on a different trajectory.
That's a Democratic stronghold. Republicans have held on to Missouri's 2nd congressional district for 30 years. That covers parts of St. Louis, St. Charles, Franklin, and Lincoln counties. Republican Ann Wagner has served the district for nearly 12 years, and she is the projected winner. She was being challenged by Democrat Ray Hartman, but Ann Wagner with 55% of the vote.
Missouri's 3rd congressional district stretches from St. Charles to Jefferson City and also includes parts of Jefferson County. Longtime Republican Blaine Luetkemeyer is not seeking re-election. State Senator Bob Onder hoping to keep the seat in Republican hands. He is the projected winner with 64% of the vote.
In the congressional races in Illinois, District 12 covers the entire southern portion of the state, including St. Clair and Montgomery counties. Congressman Mike Bost, who survived a competitive Republican primary against Darren Bailey, tonight, no problem, 76% of the vote against Brian Roberts.
And Illinois' 13th congressional district includes portions of St. Clair, Madison, and Macoupin counties and snakes its way up to Springfield and Champaign. Democrat Nikki Budzinski is seeking a 2nd term, being challenged by Republican Joshua Lloyd, and she is the projected winner, winning 53% of the vote so far.
All right, let's send it back over to our political editor, Mark Maxwell, and we just called North Carolina for former President Trump.
Yeah, we'll check in on that political map in a moment, looking at the presidential race and the paths to victory for both candidates. Right now, Donald Trump has a wide berth. Kamala Harris's path to the White House shrinking as that crucial state of North Carolina no longer on the map. Let's look quickly at the maps in our area for the congressional districts. Look, a lot of the congressional seats in our area were deep red or deep blue. There aren't really any surprises on this map, but just to give you a look, you saw this area of Boone County tilting Democratic. Everything else in the 3rd congressional district leans towards Bob Onder. He'll make his maiden voyage to Washington, D.C. to be sworn in as and inaugurated in the new year. You look at the 2nd congressional district. Ray Hartman never quite raised any outside money, never really got a lot of support from the Democratic Party apparatus. Ann Wagner retains her seat for that consecutive term there as well. And then Wesley Bell, again, no surprise in Missouri. If we go to the Illinois side of the map, we can show you how Mike Bost fared on that map there. When we come down to the 12th congressional district, a clean sweep of all of these counties. Expect that to remain the same. That's a quick look at those congressional seats for you, sparing Nikki Budzinski. But as we look here, we did call, the Associated Press is calling North Carolina for Donald Trump, and that shows you he's getting a lot closer, just 40 votes left before he becomes the president-elect.
Mark, thanks. Well, weather wreaked some havoc on Election Day in the bi-state.
And a flash flooding leading to tragedy in South County, plus the technology used in an incredible rescue along the Big River.
Yeah, the good news is that rain has pushed out of the area. We'll get a chance to dry out for a couple of days. We'll track for you in a few minutes.
Welcome back to our Decision 2024 coverage, and we have another projection for you. Amendment 3 has passed in Missouri. We'll talk more about that a little bit later in our broadcast. We're also following a developing story surrounding the St. Louis Blues. Center Dylan Holloway is recovering at a local hospital tonight after he was taken away on a stretcher during tonight's game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, this happened just moments after he was hit in the neck by a puck late in the first period. Blues say Holloway is alert and is being monitored at the hospital. Tonight, 2 people are dead from flash flooding along Gravois Creek in South St. Louis County. A woman was found dead inside a car in the area of I-55 in Bayless. Just a few hours later, a man was found dead about a quarter-mile downstream. Both victims have not been identified.
And a drone is being credited in the rescue of a man from flash flooding in Jefferson County. The 70-year-old escaped his car as it was swept away by floodwaters near the Mammoth Road Bridge over the Big River in DeSoto. A family member called 911 after finding his abandoned car. Firefighters used a drone and found him clinging to a tree, and they were able to bring him to safety. Now let's check in with Scott with the weather impact forecast. The heavy rains and storms have finally moved out.
Yeah, they finally did move out. We got a lot.
But what about
of
those
rain.
rivers, Scott?
Yeah, and the river's coming up too. And because of that heavy rain, look at that, 3.89 inches today. That's a daily record, breaking the old record by a long shot. And then yesterday we had 3.75 inches, which was the most rain that had ever fallen in a November day. And then we beat that record again today with 3.89, tallied the 2 up, and it is the fourth, basically the fourth largest 2-day rainfall total in St. Louis history. All right, so, and there you go, 5 to 8 inches in general. A lot of spots from Valley Park, Fenton down 44 towards Steelville, picking upwards of 9, 10, even 11 inches. That's pushing over the next couple of days. Going to push the Merrimack River up into that major flood category. Just got an update out of Steelville, 26.3 right now. Forecast crest 29.2. It'll jump in Sullivan. It'll jump in Pacific, already jumping in Eureka. Burnsville, Union, Darden Creek. The good news about Darden Creek is it looks like it's probably pretty close to crest right now, and it's not high enough to where they had to close Interstate 70 there in St. Peters, but that's moderate flooding on those rivers. There's your rain moving out of the picture right now in St. Louis at this point. We've seen the skies clear out. We have the moisture at the ground. It's 61 degrees. Our high was 70. We may see some patches of fog develop here as we go through the overnight hours with temperatures dropping back into the 40s. Tomorrow's a relatively stable day. Outside of some patchy fog early on, we're pushing temperatures back into the 60s tomorrow afternoon. That's our front. It's scooting off to the east. It's taking this rain with it. And basically, we get 2 days of a break before we're going to bring back the chances for more showers and thunderstorms as we go into Friday night, into Saturday, and into Sunday. Doesn't look like there's much of a severe weather threat, if any, close to St. Louis at this point. But on Saturday, we'll have to dodge some showers and potentially some thunderstorms across the area. So just keep that in mind. Of course, we have the Veterans Day Parade on Saturday, but what we don't have anywhere in this forecast period for the next 7 days is cold air. And that rainfall that we expect on Saturday should generally be in the 1/4 to a 1/2 inch range versus these extreme ranges we've had the last couple of days. So that's the very latest for you now. We'll keep track of the Merrimack River, the Big, the Burbus, and as well all of the smaller creeks, which most of those going back into their banks.
Yeah, on this election day, weather was the headline for much of the day. Well, there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. We're going to send it back now to NBC News coverage of Decision 2024.
And we are staying right here. We'll have more local election night coverage on 5+ until 11 p.m. Remember, it is free on Apple, Roku, and Fire TV. Just text the word plus to 314-425-5355 for a link to download.